I trash your party. You hate Trump, Biden, shouting. You tell every kid you see that you are good. Science makes you mad, and that bitch make you glad. For 8 years now we've got 'em, is all you said. Biology is just too much, so the doctors cut off your nuts, and you think that you are a babe. You call me names and swear at me, because you changed the way you be, and I don't want to live your fantasy. I know I'm right, you're fucking crazy. And tonight I'm gonna prove just how much you ain't too bright. You're kinda lazy. I know you're wrong, I know I'm right, you're fucking nuts.
I don't f***ing like you.
What?
I said I don't f***ing like you.
You don't like me?
No.
Alright, what's up? Welcome to the podcast. I already got a beer, so I'm not. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the impeachment inquiry. Now, I have to say that as I have a degree in criminal justice, and I know you don't know what it is, what an impeachment inquiry is, because they didn't do that with Trump. With Trump, what they did was they impeached him and then tried to find the evidence to why they impeached him. So it was asked backwards. This, for a impeachment inquiry, it's a way for, it's a way, if they can prove probable cause, with the, they can open an impeachment inquiry. Then they can do subpoenas, they can do warrants, all that good shit. So, I just wanted to explain what an impeachment inquiry is for those people who don't fucking know. You do not need beyond a reasonable doubt. You just need probable cause. I think they have it, and we're going to cover that tonight because I'm sick and tired of hearing this bullshit.
I think the impeachment inquiry is absurd. The American people want us to do something that will make their lives better, not go off on these chases and witch hunts. The bottom line is, as we have said, you can only accomplish keeping the government open in a bipartisan way.
Complete lying prick.
House Democrats will defend President Biden today. We will defend President Biden tomorrow. We will defend President Biden next week. We will defend President Biden next month. We will defend President Biden next year. We will defend President Biden until the very end.
Damn, an imbecile. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived. Everybody knows you never go full retard. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
And so this is the constant and persistent dysfunction, chaos, and just complete disorganization on the part of the Republicans who cannot run the government. And instead, what they are doing is focusing on doing the bidding of Donald Trump, distracting from Donald Trump, and trying to launch a completely baseless, meritless impeachment investigation. It is one thing to actually go forward with any misconduct, but we're not talking about impeaching Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is being dealt with by the Department of Justice. There is no evidence, none whatsoever, and I don't care how much they say otherwise. I looked at it. There is no direct evidence that President Biden was involved in any way, shape, or form in Hunter Biden's business dealings, and they would be going forward with an impeachment inquiry based on lies.
Hospital tested, clinically proven bullshit.
It's going to be funny to listen to Democrats say there's no evidence for the next 6 months, because here's just 3 pieces of evidence right here. That's off the top of my head. Okay, so Putin's billionaire buddy wires the Biden family $3.5 billion, and then they sit down for dinner with Joe Biden, and then Biden leaves her off the sanctions list twice. Right there, you could open an impeachment inquiry. Or how about when Joe Biden flies his son to China, he comes back with a bucket of cash and then gets on the, hey, guys, you better pay up the rest or my dad's going to get revenge on you. And what do you know? Joe Biden starts writing the communist Chinese guy's daughter's recommendations to get into Brown. And then they grease the regulatory process so the Chinese can buy an American car company. Oh, yeah, and then Hunter gets that diamond for about $75,000 that he lost. Because if Malia Obama got a diamond and then President Obama went soft on the country that gave it to him, I'm sure that would not be a big deal at all. And then who else do we have? We have Biden flies his son down to Mexico City. Hunter meets with the president of Mexico and Carlos Slim, comes back with money, and then complains, guys, I've gotten all of your clients into the White House to meet with my dad, and you haven't paid me a dime. Where's the cash? They can't answer those 3 situations. So I can't wait till they have to answer about the burner phones, the 20 shell companies, or Joe Biden on a voicemail saying, son, I read the Times piece about your shady deals in China. You're in the clear. Now, how would he even know if he was in the clear if he didn't know what his son did? And how do you not know what your son did if you call your son every day for the last 20 years? Hey, son, how'd you get the Porsche Panorama? Hey, son, where did you get all the money to take me to St. Croix 8 times in a row?
That's not even the evidence I have.
What evidence do you have as opposed to allegations to show to the American public that would merit an actual impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden and prove that today isn't just about some of you...
Oh, I don't know.
...bullied Speaker McCarthy for the sake of enacting political revenge.
This isn't about political revenge. We have the bank accounts. We can see, ma'am, you can see that the homes that the Bidens own can't be afforded on a congressional or Senate salary.
I can't see a thing.
You also understand that it's not normal for family members to receive millions of dollars from overseas interests. Those things aren't normal. That's not normal to have 20 shell companies. These things are not normal, and it alludes to
it's normal
not
for
only
like
just
a drug
widespread
cartel
corruption, but money laundering, if not influence peddling itself. And we also have the president, the vice president at the time, on record saying that the prosecutor was fired. Well, son of a bitch, the prosecutor was fired, right? Because the prosecutor was going after the company that his son was working on. That's what we have. If you can't see that, if you are that blind, look, I'll turn it over to the attorneys.
People can't see that. They think it's political revenge.
It's because you don't report on it.
You're not, We're here reporting on it today.
I'm not sure how you know what the American people think, but here's what they might wonder. Actually, if you're a federal prosecutor, you would be asking yourself, how can there not have been...
If you want to see a RICO case, here you go.
...against Hunter Biden? How can there possibly... my understanding and discussions with staff have confirmed my impulse that this would be very much the basis of a Foreign Corrupt Practices Act investigation, given the circumstances that we know. The question is, it's funny. After we come out of the events that John Durham, for example, testified to our committees about how investigations proceeded through our investigative agencies without proper predication. It's not that you have to prove the case.
They see it. It's just that the mainstream media
to a Hunter Biden bank account or a Joe Biden bank account,
just
or any
a
other
propaganda
Biden
arm of the Democrat Party now.
Because until an impeachment inquiry commences, that's not a jurisdictional possibility. Well, it would be stretching jurisdiction to do that. But there's ample
like Democrats
predication
do
at this point in time based on that very unusual set of circumstances, which is for no apparent payment for expertise or services rendered. Biden family members writ large received over $20 million.
That we know of.
That we know of.
It is very simple for someone just to insist there's an absence of evidence. But if you can look in the face of that and contend that, that's, anyone has a right to their opinion. What they
We're talking about people who can look you in the face with a full beard and tell you they're a woman. So
House.gov/Biden crime family, and you will see all the evidence from the Oversight Committee. You will see all the evidence. And if you're willing to read it, I think you'll be convinced.
Thank you all. Are you fucking getting it yet?
That's why I'm here, because those fuckers don't read.
How do you move through this in a way that doesn't necessarily blow up in your face, given, as you all have said, we have not seen any evidence, hard evidence, directly connecting wrongdoing on the part of then Vice President Biden, now President Biden, and Hunter Biden's business dealings or the ongoing Hunter Biden investigation. Now, I want to add one thing, though. What Kevin McCarthy does have in this moment on his side is public opinion. I mean, we just released a poll last week, and we saw that despite that lack of evidence having been presented, a majority of Americans believe something afoot here. I mean, 55% in our poll said they think President Biden has acted inappropriately during the course of this investigation while he's been president. North of 6 in 10 Americans think that either Biden did something illegally or acted immorally or in bad faith in some way, did something wrong here when it comes to the business dealings of Hunter Biden when Joe Biden was vice president. So there is a perception issue that the White House is going to have to battle, and that is the perception issue that the House Republicans and Kevin McCarthy right now are leaning into. Both sides are going to need the evidence or lack thereof to make their final case to the American people as this goes forward. I would just note one thing. Manu made a very smart comparison looking back to 2019 when Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats launched that initial Trump impeachment inquiry. One thing that is so fascinating to me about the difference in the politics internally in the House at the moment, Nancy Pelosi did that when some of her moderate frontline members sort of flipped and decided they had been so reluctant about moving ahead with the impeachment, especially those with like national security credentials. A lot of those freshman members, they got on board with that. And that's when Nancy Pelosi went forward. Here, it is the reliable, solid, hardcore conservatives pushing McCarthy here, and those frontline members who determine Kevin McCarthy's majority have clearly not yet been fully on board with this. And so it's a difference in the internal politics in the way each of these speakers handled it. And then I just think, guys, we have to step back and look.
Yes, I like the way he says politics. He doesn't say
impeachment,
law enforcement. He doesn't say justice. He doesn't say it's
sort of
politics.
Perennial political tool.
Committing
for
crimes
no matter
is
which
politics.
Party is in power in the White House or in the House, that this is just becoming a way of life. I've been covering American politics for north of 20 years now. This will now be the fourth presidential impeachment process, at least, getting kicked off in that time. And it had been a long time prior to that. Nixon obviously didn't move forward to a formal impeachment charge, but this is now the way of American political life. And I am not sure that is a healthy thing for our system.
That is what's known as being stunningly full of shit.
What impeachment inquiry is to do is to get answers to questions. Are you concerned about all the stuff that was just recently learned? Do you have any concern?
They cannot open an impeachment inquiry without probable cause.
Do you believe the president lied to the
This is their probable cause. I'm about to take you through.
About business dealings? Yes or no? It's all right.
I can't answer that.
You can't answer that? Do you believe when they said the president went on conference calls? Do you believe that happened?
That's what the testimony says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe the president went to Cafe Milano and had dinner with the clients of Hunter Biden, who believes he got those clients because he was selling the brand?
Nothing to see here.
Okay. Do you believe Hunter Biden, when you saw the video of him driving a Porsche, that he got $143,000 to buy that Porsche the next day? Do you believe the $3 million from the Russian oligarch that was transferred to the shell companies that the Bidens controlled after the dinner from Cafe Milano took place?
So the testimony.
Okay, then I go back. Do you think the president lied?
But is that an impeachable? Is lying an impeachable?
Well, you want to know. I'm not saying impeachment. All I'm saying is I would like to know answers to these questions. The American public like to know, and that's what impeachment inquiry provides.
Probable cause. Definition. Probable cause is a requirement found in the Fourth Amendment that must usually be met before police make an arrest, conduct a search, or receive a warrant. Courts usually find probable cause when there is a reasonable basis for believing that a crime may have been committed, for an arrest, or when evidence of the crime is present in the place to be searched, for a search. Under exigent circumstances, probable cause can also justify a warrantless search or seizure. Persons arrested without a warrant are required to be brought before a competent authority shortly after the arrest for a prompt judicial determination of probable cause.
So, this is the evidence that the Oversight Committee has. This is just an overview. It was published September 13th, 2023. So I'm going to read parts of it. I did some audio because I don't want to be reading all night. And also, I'm making this video because the loony left, for some reason, don't like to read. They don't like to listen to my videos either. Usually they'll just throw insults. But this is the probable cause they have to start an impeachment inquiry. Now, do I think an impeachment's going to happen? No. I think this is just to feed the base something. They'll say, well, we didn't find, we found some inconsistencies, but just so McCarthy could keep his spot as majority leader. But anyway, evidence of Joe Biden's involvement in his family's influence peddling schemes. There is mounting evidence that Joe Biden was involved in his family's influence peddling schemes, including while he served as vice president. However, Democrats and their corporate media allies continue to ignore this overwhelming evidence as they seek to distract the American people from the Biden family's corruption. Below are over 20 examples of Joe Biden's involvement. 1. In July 2023, former Biden business associate Devin Archer described how Joe Biden was the brand and was used to send signals of power, access, and influence to enrich the Biden family from foreign sources.
Mr. Archer. Vadim is the corporate secretary of Burisma. Mr. Mandolfo. It makes it look like we are adding value. This is in the beginning stages of when you're joining the board. And would you agree with me this isn't legal advice that's adding value here that Hunter Biden is giving? The value add that Hunter Biden brings to Burisma is Vice President Biden? Mr. Schwartz. Was the question. Mr. Archer. Yes. Mr. Schwartz. What was the value that Hunter Biden brought to Burisma? Mr. Archer. The value was the value that Hunter Biden brought to it was having, there was the theoretical was corporate governance, but obviously, given the brand, that was a large part of the value. I don't think it was the sole value, but I do think that was a key component of the value. Mr. Mandolfo. You keep saying the brand, but by brand you mean the Biden family, correct? Mr. Archer. Correct. Mr. Mandolfo. And that brand is what, in your opinion, was the majority of what the value that was delivered from Hunter Biden to Burisma? Mr. Archer. I didn't say majority, but I wouldn't speculate on percentages. But I do think that that was an element of it. Mr. Biggs. When you say Biden family, sorry to cut in here. I just want to get a clarification. You aren't talking about Dr. Jill or anybody else. You're talking about Joe Biden. Is that fair to say? Mr. Archer. Yeah, that's fair to say. Listen, I don't think about it as, Joe directly, but it's fair. That's fair to say. Obviously, that brought the most value to the brand.
2. Devon Archer alone was aware of at least 20 times in which then Vice President Biden spoke on speakerphone with Hunter Biden's foreign business associates. Democrats would have Americans believe that these phone calls with the then Vice President Biden were simply to discuss the weather.
Question. How many times would you say that Hunter Biden put his father on speakerphone or referenced his father being on the phone in front of others who were either foreign investors or foreign nationals who he was soliciting business with or working with, approximately? Answer. Approximately? The differentiation between investor and normal course of day, that's a very hard thing to speculate on. But they spoke every day. He acknowledged that they spoke every day. And he would sometimes make it apparent that he spoke to his dad, and sometimes he put him on speaker. But as far as quantifying the number, relative to investors, I don't know. Question. Not necessarily investors, but with people who Hunter Biden was trying to either get business with or make contacts with or add value to? Answer. In my whole partnership, maybe 20 times. Question. And during those 20 times, did Hunter Biden ever place his dad on speakerphone? Answer. Yes.
In February 2014, then President Joe Biden dined with oligarchs from Russia. Remember that all Trump did was talk to a Russian dude in Trump Tower. Russia and Kazakhstan, who funneled millions of dollars to Hunter Biden and his business associates.
Question. And I want to talk about the value. Going back to this, it would be spring of 2014 Cafe Milano dinner. Answer. Aha. The spring of 14, yeah, the first one. Question. And since we talked about it before the break, if you could just recap. Can you just say again who was there? Answer. Sure. Ken Zrakashev, Karim Masimov, Yelena Bacharina, possibly Yuri, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, possibly Eric Schwerin. Question. The duration of time that Joe Biden stayed there, you said you couldn't recall. But do you recall whether he had dinner or whether? Answer. He had dinner, yeah. I recall that he had dinner. It was a regular, not a long dinner, but dinner. Question. And so this dinner takes place in spring of 2014, approximately. But then do you recall getting a wire on February 14th of 2014 from Yelena Bacharina for $3.5 million to Rosemont Seneca Thornton? Answer. To Rosemont Seneca Thornton? Question. Yes. Answer. Yes. And why I remember that is from other testimony. Yes.
In April 2015, then Vice President Biden dined with Hunter Biden's foreign business associates, including Ukrainian Burisma executive Vadim Pasharsky. Burisma was then being investigated by Ukrainian prosecutor General Viktor Shokin for corruption. Do I need to show you the video? Do I really need to?
All right. Let's move on to the second dinner. Answer. The second dinner. Question. The spring 2015 Cafe Milano. Who was there? Answer. That dinner was, I think we went over it before, but it was Vadim, Hunter, Joe, myself, Karim Masimov, a Greek Orthodox priest, maybe someone from World Food Program. Question. And what did Joe do at that dinner? Did he have dinner? How long was he there? Answer. He had dinner. He had dinner. And there was on that one, I believe the first one was, like, a birthday dinner, and then the second was, I think we were supposed to talk about the World Food Program. So there was some talk about that. Question. Was there any, did you ever witness Hunter Biden asking Joe Biden to do for, to help BHR or help out Jonathan Lee? Answer. A college recommendation. She didn't get in. Mr. Goldman. For who? Mr. Archer. I think for his daughter, to Georgetown. It didn't work. Question. And then, in the spring of 2015 you attended a breakfast at the Naval Observatory where the UN Secretary General was present? Answer. No. Question. Do you remember that? Answer. No, the UN Secretary General was not present at that breakfast. But it was, like, a UN-related conversation. Question. Who was present? Answer. A gentleman named Mark Holtzman, myself, Hunter, and the President, Vice President. Question. And what was the discussion about? Answer. It was about who was going to be the next UN Secretary General. Question. Why were you involved in that? Answer. Because Mark Holtzman was lobbying for Kareem Massimov. But it was, obviously, that didn't happen. Question. And then, in the spring. Question. During that I'll say after dinner at the Four Seasons, did Mykola Zlochevsky or Vadim ask Hunter Biden to make any phone calls? Answer. Yes, though I was not party to that phone call. Question. What was the request? Answer. The request was I think they were getting pressure and they requested Hunter, help them with some of that pressure. Question. What pressure? Answer. Government.
I'm going to go back to that last one. Because the mic was not. And I changed the button that I had to push. But anyway, I don't have an engineer like other podcasts. But I have a lot of shit going on this computer. As you can see, this is actually my laptop. On December 4th, 2015, Biden business associate Eric Schwerin wrote to Kate Bedingfield in the office of the vice president, providing quotes to use in response to media outreach regarding Hunter Biden's role in Burisma, a Ukrainian energy company. Later that day, Ms. Bedingfield responded to Mr. Schwerin saying VP signed off on this, meaning he's going to do it. According to Devin Archer, after a Burisma board of directors meeting in Dubai on the evening of December 4, 2015, Hunter Biden called D.C. to discuss pressure that Burisma asked him to relieve. I'm going to... All right, here we go. Here's the VP signed off on this. We'll give this quote to both reporters in my name shortly. Hunter Biden is a private citizen and a lawyer. The vice president does not endorse any particular company and has no involvement with this company. The vice president has pushed aggressively for years, both publicly with groups like the U.S.-Ukraine Business Forum and privately in meetings with Ukrainian leaders, for Ukraine to make every effort to investigate and prosecute corruption in accordance with the rule of law. It will once again be a key focus during this business trip. So he was actually told by the company that he supposedly had no business dealings with what to say. Got it. But nothing to see here.
Question. During that I'll say after dinner at the Four Seasons, did Mykola Zlochevsky or Vadim ask Hunter Biden to make any phone calls? Answer. Yes, though I was not party to that phone call. Question. What was the request? Answer. The request was I think they were getting pressure and they requested Hunter, help them with some of that pressure. Question. What pressure? Answer. Government. Government pressure on there, government pressure from Ukrainian government investigations into Mykola, etc. But it wasn't like not a specific request. It was just we were sitting there at the Four Seasons having, coffee and there was Mykola, there was one of the managers for the Four Seasons who managed that property, Vadim. So it wasn't like it was not like a specific meeting. Question. When you say pressure from the government, at this time were you aware that Viktor Shokin was investigating Burisma? Answer. To the best, I vaguely, whether it was Shokin, there was a lot of pressure initially. There was several pressure issues. It was kind of a theme of Burisma. There was capital tied up in London, £23 million. There was, a US visa denied and then a Mexico visa denied. And then there was, so Shokin wasn't specifically on my radar as being an individual that was targeting him. But yes, there was constant pressure. And it was like whack-a-mole in regards to the pressures that had to resolve. Mr. Jordan. The request from from Mykola Zlochevsky and Vadim to Mr. Biden, and or if you said it was to you, the request for help from whom to deal with what pressure? Mr. Archer. The request, basically the request is like, can DC help? But there were not, I'm not going to there were not, it wasn't like, there weren't specific, can the big guy help? It's always this amorphous, can we get help in DC? Mr. Biggs. So why do you think they were asking Mr. Biden for DC help if they had? I'm assuming what you're saying is they might have had some kind of lobbying group on retainer, perhaps. Mr. Archer. Yes. Mr. Biggs. So why do you think they were asking Hunter Biden for DC help? Mr. Archer. I mean, why? Mr. Biggs. I mean, what did you take away from that? Mr. Archer. Well, he was a lobbyist and an expert, and obviously he carried, a very powerful name. So I think that's what they were asking for.
In May 2017, James Gilliar, a Biden family associate, emailed Hunter Biden and other associates to formalize how they would divide the profit from their deal with CEFC, a Chinese Communist Party-linked energy company. Gilliar indicated Joe Biden would receive 10%, which would be confirmed by former Biden family associate Tony Bobulinski. Let me read this for you. Personally, I have already spent a large amount on this, and I am not in for the weekly pay. But as we have shorted on the agreed package, I feel this is right and reasonable. I am happy to raise any detail with Zhang if there is shortfalls. At the moment, there's a provisional agreement that the equity will be distributed as follows: 20H, 20RW, 20 JG, 20 TB, 10 Jim, 10 held by H for the big guy. Any comments or disagreements, let's table now. Apologies for typos, can't see. Shit. There's that big guy thing again that supposedly doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Which was used in the testimony earlier. On May 20th, 2017, James Gilliar told Tony Bobulinski, another business associate, don't mention Joe being involved. It's only when you are face to face. I know you know that, but they are paranoid. There's the don't mention Joe being involved. It's only, okay, they should be paranoid about things. Obviously, because they're being investigated now. 11. In a September 21st, 2017 email, Hunter Biden wrote that Joe Biden is his business partner and provided Joe Biden's personal cell phone if the recipient seeks confirmation. Emails also show that Hunter Biden, CEFC officials, and Joe Biden would share offices under the Hudson West CEFC Biden Foundation name. And I'm trying to read this. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Nope, can't make it bigger. Please have keys made available for new office mates. Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Jim something. Guangdong Chairman v. CEFC Commissary. I would like the office sign to reflect the following: the Biden Foundation, Hudson West, CEFC US. The lease will remain under my company's name, Rosemont Seneca. If you need information on the individual above, please refer to their wiki pages. Chairman Yi, my partner. Are we seeing enough? Are we got enough evidence yet for? If you need to speak with my partners for their personal information, Guangdong. Joe Biden's personal cell is, and it's been redacted, of course, Jim Biden's redacted. Please have my blank call them at her convenience. If she insists, she may not have my mother's cell number. So yeah, but Joe Biden didn't know shit about his son's business dealings. You fucking. On July 30th, 2017, Hunter Biden demanded money from Chinese business associates and threatened that Joe Biden was sitting next to him. If I get a call or text from anyone involved in this matter other than you, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direct. And there's the Chinese, there's the text. And if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that will regret not following my direction. 13. On August 3rd, 2017, Hunter Biden claimed the Bidens are the best I know at doing exactly what the chairman wants for this partnership. Please let's not quibble over peanuts. The chairman is Yi Jianming, is a Chinese billionaire tied to a CCP intelligence gathering agency. He stated that the CEFC China's vision is to obtain overseas resources and serve the national strategy. I'm tired of this, Kevin. I can make $5 million in salary at any law firm in America. If you think this is about money, it's not. The Bidens are the best I know at doing exactly what the chairman wants for this partnership. Please let's not quibble over peanuts. You want to talk about fucking collusion? Holy shit. China's employee of the fucking month here. Holy shit. 14. During Bob Walker's recorded interview with the FBI in December 2020, he told agents that Joe Biden attended a CEFC meeting. Okay, did the VP ever show up at any CEFC meetings or anything like that? Even once he was out of office? Rob Walker, yes. Special Agent Josh Walker, FBI. Any times when he was in office, or did you hear Hunter say that he was setting up a meeting with his dad with them while Dad was still in office? Yes, yeah. 15. Is Vice President Joe Biden allowed his son to travel on Air Force Two with him to court business around the world? Vice President Biden brought Hunter Biden along to at least 15 countries where he sold the brand to enrich the Biden family. It's Fox News, eh? 16. Hunter Biden's business associates reportedly visited the White House more than 80 times when Joe Biden was vice president. You all need to sign in too when you enter the White House and be checked by Secret Service, so there's a list. 17. In February 2014, a report indicates then Vice President Biden met with two of Hunter's Mexican business associates at the White House. Wow, isn't the border open like a motherfucker right now? 18. In October 2015, a report says that Hunter Biden arranged a video call with his father and Mexican business partners. The next month, then Vice President Biden hosted Mexican business partners and a Biden associate, Jeff Cooper, at the Vice President's official residence. And the dumb fucks actually took a picture. 19. In February 2016, then Vice President Biden allowed his son and Biden associate Jeffrey Cooper to fly to Mexico on Air Force Two to meet with business partners. All this flying around, isn't that hurting the environment? 20. The FBI's June 30th, 2020 FD 1023 form contains allegations that then Vice President Joe Biden allegedly engaged in an extortion scheme where he was paid $5 million in exchange for certain actions. But they've indicted Trump for saying the election was stolen. 21. Hunter's pitch to Chinese investors was access to his father. Joe Biden in September 2011, while his father was vice president, Hunter wrote in an email that his value to Chinese investors has nothing to do with me and everything to do with my last name. I'll read the email, although I didn't want to read too much. So, for now, let's keep this between BTW, just you and me. Your question, why does Super Chair love me so much, is easily answered. It has nothing to do with me and everything to do with my last name, and I bring along very handsome, Aryan, godlike men wherever I go. Not racist at all. Regardless, if this is for real, moved from 5% to 25% chance, you and I have to have a long talk about how we divide things going forward. My opinion is that everything I do since we became partners is equally yours as it is mine. In this instance, I clearly would never have met SC if I had met Jonathan through Michael, through Jimmy, through you, through Chris. Anyway, my point is whatever comes out of this or anything going forward, I consider 50-50. But by the way, you and me, and we can figure everyone else out in the back end. Bottom line, when Jimmy and Michael come after us for fucking up their relationship in Beijing, you are 50% responsible. 22. In 2019, Hunter Biden texted his daughter claiming that, unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. I hope you all can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. It's really hard, but don't worry, unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary. So that's the, do they have a probable cause? I don't know, you want to get more specific? Because I can get more specific. This is the Oversight Committee, so they have it broken down. Let me see, time. Let me see. Here we go. We can go back to the original, let me see, articles. Timeline to Biden's influence peddling. Since taking the gavel in January, the Committee on Oversight and Accountability has accelerated its investigation of the, you know what? I think you all get it. Right now, I think I'm going to have some fun and see if I can make a group with a bunch of loony leftists and see if we can have some fun with them. Or, let me check my Facebook, because I just, I like pissing off the communists. Nope, that's Joe Rogan. Alright, let's go back to InstaFace. Yes, I'm thinking about making a group. Let's see. Okay. Watch this. This is how you do it. Group. I guess you can make a group. I'm trying to, let me see. I'm trying to remember what his name is. Okay. Whatever. So nobody's in chat, of course, but okay, let me see if I can. I'm just going to highlight it and I'll let it read to you, because I don't like reading all this, but
The so-called January 6 indictment against former President Trump has finally dropped, and pundits on all sides have been voraciously analyzing the charges and the underlying conduct that President Trump allegedly engaged in, which the Department of Justice says amounts, essentially, to conspiracy to impede an election and obstruction of the right to vote. But they're all getting ahead of themselves. There are many ways to attack the validity of the charges and potential defenses, both factual and legal, that Trump will doubtlessly invoke in defending against the most recent indictment. But any legal review of this case would be remiss to overlook the significant first question of jurisdiction. Put simply, if there is no jurisdiction, there's no case. The question of jurisdiction is a question of the authority of the court in which the case is brought to even entertain it. Importantly, the jurisdictional analysis is irrespective of the criminal culpability of the defendant. The question of criminal jurisdiction in a federal court for a case involving acts of a then-sitting president is legally a question of first impression. It has long been thought that the president enjoys immunity for his acts while in office, at least for those acts connected with his official duties. The DOJ has historically agreed with this and has repeatedly endorsed the position that they cannot indict a sitting president. The Constitution, though, seems to go much further. As a remedy for the commission of high crimes and misdemeanors by a president, the Constitution calls for impeachment. The remedy of impeachment is the only one delineated in the Constitution. The indictment in this case, of course, follows a failed impeachment for the same acts. The argument against this is that the president has only qualified immunity, meaning that his immunity from prosecution is connected only to acts that are in furtherance of his official duties. There's a long history in American politics of drawing this line in cases involving the prosecution of other politicians, including state governors. But the American president is different. The president is an entire branch of government embodied in one individual. For example, Article 2 of the Constitution gives the president unilateral authority over foreign relations. This task is considered an official function of the executive. What the president says to allies and adversaries of the United States is the official position of the country. Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution says the president also has the duty to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. It's hard to imagine a person with this kind of broad power ever not being on the job. In the eyes of the law, there are very limited circumstances where the president is considered to be acting outside of his official function. The Supreme Court has allowed, for example, prosecutorial process on the president to require compliance with subpoenas in criminal cases, in furtherance of a defendant's right to a fair trial. But turning over documents that someone else might need in their own trial is a lot different than facing prosecution for acts committed during the presidency. In the present case, this is precisely the issue that has arisen. In order for a prosecution of this sort to even arguably move past the jurisdictional bar, the government would need to establish, maybe even beyond a reasonable doubt, that the acts in the indictment fall outside the scope of the president's official duties. That will be tough for prosecutors. The executive has a direct interest in and obligation to ensure fairness in the outcome of elections. For example, an executive who believes an election is being mishandled by public officials certainly has the authority to comment on such and to intervene as needed being the operative phrase. In addition to his obligations as the executive, the president also enjoys a First Amendment right to speak about concerns with election legalities as he sees fit. We also have to remember that there is some possibly exculpatory evidence here that tends to suggest Trump was not trying to steal an election at all but was merely exercising the power of his office to inquire into the legalities of it. Without incident, Trump left office on January 20, 2021. The National Guard didn't remove him. There was no wrestling match over the nuclear suitcase. There is, of course, a possibility that a president could engage in actual coup-like efforts, which would present a stronger case that they were acting outside the scope of the office, and therefore amenable to prosecution. But where a president utilizes official functions of Congress and the courts to rectify irregularities, as he sees it, in the elections, this likely falls squarely within his power in the tricameral system. The president is not above the law. But the law applies differently to different people at different times. For the president, high crimes, misdemeanors, and yes, of course, bribery, don't call for traditional prosecution. Instead, they call for prosecution by impeachment. Is it unfair that a president isn't exposed to jail time like others who commit equivalent crimes? It is not. The president is also exposed to punishments that the ordinary person would not be, including the ultimate humiliation of being the first president in history to be convicted by impeachment and removed from office. There are also more complex, nuanced and national security-based reasons why we do not need to be threatening former presidents with jail time. One needs only play this out for a moment to see the obvious risk to our nation's security. If Donald Trump isn't actually a patriot, he would be on the next jet to whatever foreign adversary pays him the most and provides him the most asylum. It is, no doubt, a slippery political slope. It is not inconsistent to condemn the behavior of Trump while also taking a strong position that the federal courts have no jurisdiction to prosecute him or any president for such. This position is one about the sanctity of our system of justice, not merely a factual defense of Donald Trump himself. The legal analysis of every fact and detail is sure to persist
I've got both
to
their
come,
sayings in here.
But perhaps the only question we need to be asking is whether this prosecution is even constitutionally permissible in the first place. Katie Cherkasky, at Cherkasky Katie, and Andrew Cherkasky, at Cherkasky Law, are both military veterans, former federal prosecutors and current criminal defense attorneys. As CEO owners of the civil rights law firm, Golden Law Incorporated, they focus their legal practice on federal felony trial defense and appellate representation and other civil rights.
You know you're in a woke cult if 36. You will scream January 6th while setting fire to someone's business. Loony leftist, anyone who thinks the government can be overthrown by a militia doesn't know how tanks and jets work. Me, but you claim the government was almost overthrown on January 6th by unarmed people walking in a building.
Yeah, I don't get that.
You know you're in a woke cult if 37. Will scream that January 6th was an attempt to overthrow the government, but the Russian collusion hoax wasn't.
So let me get this. Oh, wait a minute. Let me make sure the mic's on. So let me get this straight. Trump is a crook. The Bidens aren't. Trump's had meetings with Russians and Uzbekistan. I think it was not Uzbekistan. Azkrakistan, one of the Azkrakistans. But Trump was in collusion. Okay. But then again, we're also talking about people who will look you in the eye with a full beard and tell you they're a woman. So, yeah. What else? Yeah, there's no evidence. I just spent, I don't know, an hour going over the evidence. If actually we could do, like, I think actually, let me see if I can find the where's Sniffy Joe. Let's see, White House press impeachment is. I see. I'm looking for. There we go.
Scandal. Joe Biden's daughter claims he sexually molested her as a child according to leaked diary. What really happened newsfeed. June 15, 2021. A bombshell leak of Ashley Biden's diary suggests that she was sexually molested as a child and harbors deep and bitter resentment toward her father, President Joe Biden. National File published dozens of diary entries received by a whistleblower who believes the diary entries from 2019 belong to Ashley Blazer Biden.
But I would
Several revelations from the diary are shocking, and if made public before the 2020 election, they would have been devastating to Biden's candidacy.
I got to clean up my
The author's belief that she was sexually molested as a child and that she and her father shared probably not appropriate showers, months of entries detailing the author's struggle with drug abuse, months of entries detailing the author's crumbling marriage with multiple affairs, and entries showing the family's fecundity were among the most scandalous.
Damn, an imbecile. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived. Everybody knows you never go full retard. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
President Joe Biden's daughter reportedly writes of alleged abuse in diary.
Yeah, there ain't nothing going on
Karen
there.
Compton.
Shit.
Shocking sexual allegations are emerging from the reported diary of Ashley Biden, President Joe Biden's daughter.
Oh, he isn't running. You think
According to the
that senile old bastard is running
DailyMail.com,
the
Ashley
country?
Biden, a
It's
drug
group
addict,
of people.
left her
Hillary
personal
Clinton,
diary under a
Barack
mattress in a
Obama,
Palm Beach,
it's all those
Florida
same
halfway
people.
house where she stayed during a rehab stint. The diary
I can
reportedly
remember when
details
they
her
loved
drug
Trump.
abuse,
As a matter of
sex
fact,
addiction,
Trump
and her
gave the
being
Clintons money.
hypersexualized. Ashley Biden also recounts
Trump
times
should've-
she
well, he
showered with
wouldn't
her
have won.
father when
That's
she
why he
was
didn't
young,
do it. But
something
if
she
he-
allegedly
if
wrote
he
was
should've
probably
reg-
not appropriate, says
ran as an
DailyMail.com.
independent, 'cause he would
I
give
remember
him-
having
whoever
sex
helped
with
his
friends at a
business, he
young
would've
age,
gave money to.
showers with my dad, probably not appropriate. Alleged January 2019 diary entry by Ashley Biden. The diary
What we
reportedly
need-
came to light after a Florida woman who stayed in the room Ashley Biden vacated at the halfway house discovered it in 2020 and sold it for $40,000 to a media organization, Project Veritas, says DailyMail.com. This woman, Amy Harris, is being investigated by the FBI regarding her involvement with the diary, which the outlet says the Bidens allegedly reported stolen in a burglary. Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe and one of his journalists were targeted by federal agents who reportedly raided their homes in November 2021 searching for Ashley Biden's diary, which they reportedly say was stolen, says Fox News and DailyMail.com. The DailyMail.com states that the New York Times confirmed that the Ashley Biden diary is authentic after the newspaper reported a Justice Department probe over the diary in November 2021. Harris allegedly circulated the diary at a Republican conference, and a right-wing website published it less than 2 weeks before the 2020 presidential election, say reports. This report went largely unnoticed, though, says DailyMail.com. In her diary, the president's own daughter believes his alleged showering with her could have helped create her sex addiction, reports DailyMail.com. The outlet says Ashley Biden also reportedly writes about her financial troubles, saying she was down to the wire. She also wrote that President Joe Biden was reduced to tears due to worrying about her addiction and multitude of troubles, say reports. The DailyMail.com infers from Ashley Biden's diary that she may have been abusing drugs as she campaigned for her father during his presidential campaign in 2019. Ashley Biden also recounts alleged sexual abuse by a family member, according to an alleged entry in her diary obtained by the DailyMail.com. I have always been boy crazy. Hypersexualized at a young age. I remember somewhat being sexualized with a family member. I remember having sex with friends at a young age, showers with my dad, probably not appropriate. Alleged January 2019 diary entry by Ashley Biden. Ashley Biden is President Joe Biden's youngest daughter, and his only child with First Lady Jill Biden. His son Hunter Biden is infamous for his alleged sex and drug addictions as chronicled in a laptop he left behind at a computer repair shop, say reports. According to multiple reports, the laptop allegedly shows Hunter Biden engaged in sex acts, drug abuse, and contains documents about his family's business deals. Reports say that President Joe Biden has been criticized for inappropriate touching, including by former Nevada State Assemblywoman Lucy Flores.
They couldn't do that before.
His former Senate staffer, Tara Reid, has claimed that Joe Biden sexually assaulted her in 1993, according to the New York Post. No charges were filed in either incident.
My wife comes in. You vote for Donald Trump? 17 times you vote for him? Do you know your wife is a Mexicana? Your daughters were Mexicanas. Your family's from Mexico. You vote for him? Then you're racist too. I'll never look at you the same way again, ever. I swear to God, 4 years later, my wife's like, fuck, I can't believe it, but I'm voting for Trump. Holy shit, let me tell you. I don't know. I am not a person who menstruates. I'm a woman. I'm a mujer. Pinche bendejes.
We call them mulher in Brazil. I almost went right to Portuguese, mulher. In Spanish, it's mujer. In Portuguese, it's mulher. But the difference between pretty much anyone and Trump, he's a businessman. When he was sitting in the Oval Office, he could actually look at a spreadsheet and go, "You spent how much on that? Are you fucking nuts?" And deregulate. He was a businessman. He knew if you deregulated business, it costs less to do business. Business gets better. People have more money. People go to those businesses. They spend money. If you spend money, there's taxes involved. So you get more tax revenue. Trump didn't do anything new. This has been done before. Yeah, it's a little bit behind. But anyway, lagging. I'm in Brazil. Welcome to, as I say, bem-vindo ao Brasil. Welcome to Brazil. But I don't know how many regulations he got rid of that the dumbass came into office and put right back and added. Just like I remember everybody's going, the insulin, Biden lowered the insulin prices. No, he didn't. He actually raised them because he got rid of Trump's executive order lowering or, giving people the opportunity to go to Canada or other drugs and buy them cheaper across country lines. He got rid of that executive order. And then, I don't know, about 3 or 4 months later, reinstated the same executive order. And everyone's like, "Oh, look what he did. Oh, look what he..." Fuck off. You're a bunch of dumbasses. What else? Because I've wanted a loony leftist to come in here and tell me why they voted for Sniffy Joe, and I guarantee it's a fucking lie. I have all his lies. I think I have like 200. Well, let's look. I have them. Where's Sniffy? Sniffy Joe 1. I have 3 pages of his lies. 3 pages, 30 each. Well, that last one, my knife. So it's 63. I have 63 lies that he's told to the American people. Not just the impeachment stuff either. Just stupid shit. I'm waiting for, they won't come in here. I want to make a group one night in Instaface. They can all change the name and shit and fuck with it, but I can post in there still. And I can put it on here live and you just watch them insult. That's all they do. That's all night. Insults. They have and I post, you've seen what I post, newspaper articles, videos, information, numbers. I like numbers. Did you know right now the majority of COVID deaths in the United States are vaccinated? Glad you got it now, dumbasses. Not you, I'm just talking generally because... Oh, actually, I'll find that. And my favorite is... yeah, I got to go to Google. Let's see, majority of...
Why do vaccinated people represent most COVID-19 deaths right now? Cynthia Cox. Follow at Cynthia Cox on Twitter. Krutika Amin. Follow at Krutika Amin on Twitter, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, email, print. Note, this analysis examines COVID-19 deaths in the United States through the share of COVID-19 deaths among those who are vaccinated has risen. In fall 2021, about 3 in 10 adults dying of COVID-19 were vaccinated or boosted. But by January 2022, as we showed in an analysis posted on the Peterson KFF Health System Tracker, about 4 in 10 deaths were vaccinated or boosted.
2022.
By April 2022, the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, data show that about 6 in 10 adults dying of COVID-19 were vaccinated or boosted, and that's remained true through at least August 2022, the most recent month of data. The data from this chart come from the CDC, which collects data on the number of deaths by vaccination status from 30 health departments, including states and cities, across the country. In order to be counted as vaccinated, a person must be at least 2 weeks out from completing their primary.
Oh, yeah, that's good enough. Y'all get the idea, right? There's only one of you in here, or at least there was. And this whole article, I've read this article, but basically they say most vaccinated people are dying, but the vaccine still works. It's like saying, using seatbelt. Most people who are killed in car accidents are wearing their seatbelt, but seatbelts work. Are you fucking retarded? Maybe could it be, I don't know, $26 billion to the one pharmaceutical company? Wait a minute, let me look that up. How much? See, I like doing this. People did Pfizer make on the typing. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Pfizer made $37.8 billion in 2022 on the hokey pokey. You think there may be a reason why they're pushing it so hard? Do you think maybe a few politicians might have invested in Pfizer? I know Pelosi likes to inside trade, thinking it's a free market, but if you're making the market the way it is, it's not free anymore. It's socialism because they're delegating, they're influencing the market. Socialism is actually government owned production and distribution. So that's exactly what they're doing if they're insider trading. See, I wish I had someone like Jimmy with me who I could feed off of and come up with ideas, because I'm trying to come up with the one thing that's like it's been stuck in my head for a couple of days. You ever notice that the only people that think that these DAs who indicted Trump have a good case are Soros-backed district attorneys or loony leftists who don't know shit about the law and can find a mythical fucking abortion clause in the Constitution. Sorry, I don't see the. And I have a degree in criminal justice. It's only a 2-year degree, but I know probable cause, and I know if I took this to the DA I learned from, he wouldn't take this case. He'd laugh you out of his fucking office. Like, are you kidding me, Rico? Are you fucking kidding me? But anyway, yeah, everybody outside that circle is going, the fuck? I mean, even Judge, I don't know if you know who Judge Joe Brown is, but even he's like, are you really? I might even actually have that. I don't know if it's on turd or sound effects or what, but I have that. I might. Well, I got there we go. Yeah.
What's your opinion on
now this other
what's
guy has
happening
a
with
podcast.
the Great White Hope, Donald Trump, right now?
You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and may be used, etc., etc. We know those as the
judge.
Miranda rights. Miranda
By the way,
was
this is
not
a Democrat
nice
judge.
person. But when you have law, a lot of times some of the most sacred principles are established.
Oh, I'd
through
love
the
to have mine.
ages
I'm trying to figure out
or
how
the
I can do
agency
video.
of somebody that's not nice. Now, if you're worried about downing Trump,
distance,
you lose track
and
of
I
the
can
fact
record it
that
on here.
what
I
you
can
see,
do it.
the indictments
It's
in New
just
York,
finding free.
Florida,
People don't understand.
and
It has to
Georgia
be
are
free.
completely outside
I'm
of the
not
law.
paying for shit.
Take what this
I didn't pay
clown
for any of
brag
this. I
did in
made
New
it.
York. Whether you like Trump or not, essentially what they did is indicted him for being the victim of a blackmail attempt. They said he attempted to bribe Stormy Daniels to remain
And then they
silent.
put a gag order on him.
This guy didn't go to law
afterwards.
school and didn't pay much attention when he was there, because when you flip the script as you were instructed first year, if you had to pay somebody to be quiet, you got blackmailed. So he's the
that's a
victim
felony,
of a
by the way.
felony. If you indict a corporation for failure to file an explicit report as to what the payout was, well, there was a court gag order, and if they filed the explicit report, they violated the court gag order. Okay, get to Georgia.
Exactly, he's a fucking idiot.
Won't belabor all
Why not
of
just
the
go out and buy
accounts, but I
a
downloaded
Biden
the
Harris sticker so we
92-page
fucking know?
indictment,
It just
and
makes
I
it
was
simple.
shocked to find that some of the crimes were that Trump is supposed to
I can
have
probably add that
advocated
to you're in a cult if.
checking out
Two things. If you put your mask on before you leave the house to go
and
outdoors,
some other conservative,
if you
religious-based
brag to your neighbor about how many boosters you've had.
news institutions, they're legal. Hell, I read them. So that's supposed to be somehow or another criminal now. All right, you get down to this thing
Yeah, but you
in
can give them that
Florida,
look like,
and they're talking about
fucking
the
idiot.
documents.
Because
Well,
the loony
let's
left
forget
don't
what
figure
Trump
it out.
did. Let's go back when he was not president of the United States and George Herbert Walker Bush was. There's a case from 1988, U.S. Supreme Court. It's called United States Department of Navy versus Egan, E-G-A-N. And if you read the concurring opinions, they say, since constitutionally the president is the commander-in-chief of the
just came out with a
military
study
and
that
chief
says the
diplomat of
vaccine
the
causes
country,
fucking cancer.
he has an
So maybe
inherent
you'll-
power to declassify
Might want to
or
have your neighbor
classify
like will that
anything,
land
any
to you.
document in any form, shape, or fashion he chooses. He can do what he wants with it because guess what? The mandate that causes
What's up,
it to
Grumpy?
be prepared says it is for the exclusive
Hey,
purpose
did you know
of
that,
advising the
oh, shit.
president on the state of
challenge,
our
dude.
intelligence versus
Actually
what's
blocked
going
me
on in the world.
after I showed him
So
that
he also
Trump did
has
not
a
shut
fiduciary
down,
responsibility. It's
didn't
been
do
held
lockdowns.
that you do.
He literally blocked
Once
me,
you
so I
take
can't.
that oath, whether you are in office or not, it still binds you, and you have to make
Of course,
an
he
assessment
waited
on
till he
whether
just called me a liar and
archivists
then blocked me. So
have appropriate security clearances, and
that's what
also
they did.
the other thing goes
It literally,
to this.
I showed the map of which governors did,
Even
which
if
governors
Congress
did.
comes up
So,
with a law that says
no,
you
Trump did
can't,
not shut
well,
down
that's
the country.
unconstitutional,
Governors did.
And Marbury versus Madison,
That's why the loony left hates dissent so much.
1803 220 years ago says if Congress passes an unconstitutional act,
Just
it
for
is
you, let me get my
null
sound
and
effects
void.
up.
And that's what seems to be the case here. So you keep going into
Are you fucking getting it yet?
Literally, that's, are you fucking getting it yet? Like, even the communists here on the other side that support Lula look at Sniffy Joe, and yeah, they make fun of you people. Okay? These are communists making fun of you. And I can't even defend you people. Or defend the United States. I can't go, well, he had some good quality. No, he doesn't. Not at all. Nope. He's a total fucking idiot. But I can point out the fact. Did you see the video? Let me see if I can find that video. I got to go to YouTube though. I want to find that video. That's hilarious. Sniffy Joe snubs. Oh yeah, they're sad thing is the Democrats all flock to the cities, and that's why they're such shitholes. Some of them. What is it? Biden, Brazilian president. All right, this one's fun. Did I start typing again? No. Oh, okay. Back to the shit. About your comment about how half the country can wake up every morning feeling proud, and this is beyond me. They have no feelings. They don't feel shame. They don't feel proud. They don't feel anything. Can you hear now? Yeah, you should be able to hear now. You're lagging behind. Anyway, they feel no shame. We're talking about people that write books about what they do with their dick for kids. Okay? Which is, again, I'm asking you people who live in America, I'll do anything for my kids. Then why the fuck don't they have a bullet hole in their fucking head? Why aren't they hanging from a fucking telephone pole? Why aren't you making a fucking statement that says, if you do that shit, you're gonna fucking die? We've killed people for less. Or I have. I've killed people in Iraq because they were from Iraq and used the wrong fucking name for the group. If they had used anything but Al-Qaeda Iraq, I wouldn't have gone. But you wanted to be part of Al-Qaeda, so I'm going to kill you, motherfucker. But I'm still trying, and you've seen my post, Grumpy, with the school boards. They don't listen. They don't give a fuck. But you take one out into a field and put a fucking bullet in his head. You tell my kid about your dick one more time, I'm going to fucking kill you. Say it. They've already declared parents domestic terrorists. Might as well be. Yet Antifa isn't on that list. Something to think about. See, I'm not under American jurisdiction anymore. They can't do anything to me. For those of you who have military training, it might be time to start teaching your neighbors what to fucking do. Just saying, I think things are starting to heat up there in the States. When I can look at the political situation in America and go, if he said that in Portuguese, I could probably, Cercado por malditos idiotas, which means surrounded by fucking idiots. Let me see what else we got. I still want to make a group here of all the loony leftists that they just come on and they insult. Oh, BLM saying, if you want to see RICO charges, you want people that should have RICO charges filed against them, there you go, BLM. Oh, look at that shit. Okay. I love my... Yeah, that's our border. Yep. Actually, I think that's a concert in Europe. But that's no different. I mean... But they're... and yet they're the most cordial. I have seen because we like money and they don't work, so they're not going to get any of it. Let me explain something. They want Querida. Sandiana. Aqui. Bring. Oh, you're. Aqui, microfone. Dizer, fuck you.
Fuck you.
There you go. I did it for you. I might actually save it as a soundbite too. Yeah, she's been. She dropped a piece of chicken on the floor the other day. Fuck you. Yeah, she didn't have any. Trying to, yeah. See, I've got my monitor up there so I can kind of watch it, and it's hilarious. She didn't have any clothes on, so I couldn't turn the camera, unfortunately. Yeah, I never understood. Well, they're not illegals. They're future Democrat voters. That's exactly what they're doing. That's why they want to hand out IDs. And yeah, fuck you. And oh, she got a robe on now. But yeah, she she drops chicken or ain't. Fuck you. Matter of fact, her sister said. I think her sister says it now too. Well, where was it? Oh yeah, the border. And yeah, they want to give them IDs now, but they don't want you to require an ID to vote. But you have to have an ID to do, like you have to have an ID to buy a gun, which is a right, by the way. It's in the Constitution. But yeah, they're not illegal. They're just Democrat voters. But they want you to wear a mask and get the hokey pokey while they come through the border au natural. Would that be a good word? Au natural? I wish I had my phone because I'd actually like do the group and do audio because I have these idiots that I like fucking with. Well, that corporal there, he still tries to fuck with me, but it's horrible. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out why you like the school boards, why they aren't like so scared that they just shut the fuck up. They should be terrified. Because I guess America is just because the Second Amendment, everybody's oppressed and shit. But nobody will shut the fuck up. Like Pride Month. Don't really need Pride Month there. What are you proud of? Oh, wait a minute. Let me see if I can find it. Because it's a comedian, too. Why are comedians... Like George Carlin always had it... where is it? Oh. I had another one try and bash Ronald Reagan. And it's not, or maybe it's under, and people think because my favorite is when people think because I moved to Brazil that I don't love the United States. The exact opposite. I love it, but I just can't fucking live there because y'all like made it unbearable. Like I moved so I wouldn't fucking kill some of you. Also, my wife is gorgeous, and it's cheaper to live here. But anyway, looking for, I can't find it. Anyway, yes. Oh yeah. Well, no, they do. Well, it depends on the country. Like here, they're free, so everybody gets vaccinated for like the measles, mumps, just like the states. Well, I won't say free, taxpayer funded. But I don't know about Mexico or Venezuela. I know in Brazil. I'm just talking Brazil. So I would be hesitant, especially some of the Somalis are coming across the border now too. And Haitians don't have vaccinations. They don't even have fucking toilets with running water, all right, or showers. One thing I can say about Brazil is they'll shower 3 times a fucking day. But I'm trying to think of a way. May need Trump. Who was it? Someone said something about martial law with. Yeah. He could do it localized in certain states on the border. Certain cities and states, or cities. I would do a city. Just ask the governor, call martial law, suspend the Constitution, and close the border. then you can use the U.S. Army. Unfortunately, in those cities, the Constitution is suspended. You won't have the rights. So, but that's the problem with it. It suspends the Constitution, but it allows the president to use the U.S. Army. And how about this? We just declare war on fucking Mexico, fucking invade, take it over, and guess what? Nobody has to come across the border because they already fucking live there. And they can all start paying the fucking taxes. What's the problem? Matter of fact, you know what? We can invade and take over Mexico and just give them California. Because have them pay for California. There. Just stay out of the rest of the... Anybody else got any ideas? Because I'm thinking deadly force here. Now, a lot of people from, like, a friend of my wife's came from Brazil to the States, and she's a nurse. She speaks Portuguese, not English, and that's the problem. But you guys need nurses thanks to dumbasses fucking hokey pokey. So I was like, you need to... Oh, I like that. My governor... ain't my governor, but not anymore anyway. Yeah, I should tell Rick that just made my podcast. And they're second in, they've always been second in beef exports. Matter of fact, I bought beef a year after I got here because I'm not fucking stupid. I'm working on getting my second to build a herd. But through her dad. They actually name them. I'm like, why are you naming them? They call her, my first in my herd is called Paliosa. And I went, why would you call it? I just call it Delicious. Anyway. Yeah, and it's going to get, well, it might get worse here. They have the communist in charge now. So he may actually, he's not federalizing anything yet. Like when Bolsonaro was in charge, he privatized like the natural gas industry and a few other industries, and it doesn't look like he's trying to put it back the way it was. But everybody's complaining prices are high, and I was like, that's because they haven't passed any fucking antitrust laws. It's still one company. You're not fucking getting it. Of course, in our country, they don't actually follow their antitrust laws, and we have insider trading. Actually, if you want to, like, you would actually have to expand your farm there, Grumpy, but they don't serve their cows corn and shit down here, and they're skinny. If you could get a deal shipping grain and corn down here, you could make a fortune. And oh, they have antitrust laws, they just don't fucking follow them. Your own Nancy Pelosi literally says she does insider trading. That's not free market when you're influencing the fucking market with laws. That's socialism. But no, businessmen need to sit down and come up with a set of businessmen, not politicians, businessmen. Do you know most politicians are fucking lawyers? Businessmen need to sit down and come up with like business laws, like business. This is how we're going to do business. This is how it's going to be. Because business is, there's no such thing as a totally free market. There has to be rules. But the people who make the rules should be the people who know about business, not a bunch of fucking politicians. Because so far, all the government has proven is they can get us into wars. They can't get us out very well. And they can spend a shit ton of money on shit that we don't need. And that's all they've done. You want proof? Afghanistan now has the probably 10th or 12th largest army in the world. Thank you, Joe Biden. $85 billion worth of equipment. I wish I had more followers. I wish a loony leftist would come in here so I could fucking eviscerate him. I think I'd get more followers if they saw someone's soul just leaving their body. Which I do over on InstaFace, but that's not live, and I have time to think, right? And they never say anything intelligent. That's how I have that you're in a cult list, because they say the same thing over and over. I got to add one to that. Yeah, exactly. Or their assets seized. If they want to be socialists, all right, we'll seize your assets and we'll hand them out to the people. How about that? Matter of fact, all those illegals, yeah, they're going to be living in your mansion now. Which I think is hilarious, watching the New York. Wait a minute, yeah. Let's go over to YouTube. I want to watch it. The New York mayor. I like this, that I can.
We start tonight with New York City at a potential breaking point. We have been following this story, as you know, for months. Tens of thousands of migrants arriving from Central and South America and West Africa, straining city resources. We got here tonight because of what the mayor said over the last 24 hours, and we want to walk you through all of this. The mayor saying the crisis, quote, will destroy New York City, unleashing his frustrations with a fury we haven't seen before, targeting the White House and governors, busing migrants to sanctuary cities, even calling the Texas governor, Greg Abbott, a madman. The White House responding tonight, defending their records, helping cities across the country. The crisis spilling into the largest school system in America. More than 1 million children returning to class today, with 20,000 new students from families seeking asylum. The school system getting another $110 million to the budget, but there are worries that resources will still be stretched to the limit. The city's shelter system stretched past its capacity this summer. At one point, more migrants in city shelters than homeless Americans. Some asylum seekers
I don't know
were
your
able
real
to get
name,
beds inside
Farmer
hotels,
81,
while others
but
slept
I'm
on
an
the streets
immigrant
outside.
to Brazil.
Still, some
and I
parents
spent
are optimistic the city can
$4,000,
handle
not
the
reals,
crisis. But now,
dollars,
more than ever, this issue
to do it
spanning the
legally.
border to cities thousands of miles away,
They need to do
and it's
the
hitting
same.
close to home.
Poverty
NBC
is not a
correspondent
reason
Valerie
to-
Castro has the story.
Let me tell you something, New Yorkers.
The migrant crisis taking on a new tone.
Never in my life have I had a problem that I
Didn't
did
they
not
vote
see
to
an
be a
ending
sanctuary
to.
city?
I don't see an
Well, how are
ending
you
to
going to
this.
be a sanctuary city if you don't have anyone
I
to
don't
give
see an
sanctuary
ending to
to?
this.
We're just helping
This
them out.
issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City.
Mayor Eric Adams escalating his frustration during a town hall meeting, revealing new fears as tens of thousands of asylum seekers continue to arrive in New York City.
110,000
I'm actually thinking about
migrants.
that. Grumpy,
We have to
but
feed, clothe, house,
oh my God, it's
educate
a nightmare.
the children, watch their
I tried
laundry
the
sheets,
what was the
give them
conservative?
everything they need, health care. Month after month, I stood
remember.
up and I said, this is going to come to a neighborhood
But
near you.
then you get the Looney Tunes
Well, we're
over
here.
there. Holy fuck, they're far right.
A drastic shift from the message Adams first had for incoming migrants.
Lady Liberty sits in our
My
heart.
favorite is one of the
New York
guys.
City
It was
is
9/11
the welcoming
videos.
mat for the
Actually, messaged me
entire
on
globe.
InstaFace.
For
I
months,
want to
he's
show
been
you my
pleading with
evidence.
the federal government for help, going so far as to blame
I was
them for
there.
the city's deteriorating supply of resources.
The
End of
national
evidence.
government has turned its back on New York City.
What he once dubbed as a political stunt by Texas Governor
So,
Greg Abbott became a
There's
new
Looney
reality for the
Tunes on
city.
both sides. One person can't tell what gender they are. The other
migrants a
person
month.
can't go Well, he was there, so see.
One time we were just getting Venezuela.
Holy fuck.
Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian speaking coming through Mexico.
Yeah,
now
all socialist countries. So.
Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City.
This bus terminal became the first welcome sign for migrants after hours-long journeys from Texas. But the mayor says to his frustration, they are still arriving by the busload.
Oh my God.
Howard Malu was there when the first buses of migrants arrived.
Georgians
we are on the ground. We've outlasted every city agency that has come in to the Port Authority, which is a disgrace.
A year later, he says the city's resources have been mismanaged and the responsibility now falling onto organizers like him.
Several months ago, we saw the city here with
welcome to
representatives
socialism.
welcoming the migrants
Still like
with
it?
open arms, providing resources. At what point did you see that change?
So unfortunately, the migrants have been used as political pawns since day one, which is why you had so many city agencies and politicians popping their head in, because it was really popular.
Now do you realize
it
why
was a
other
way for them
countries
to
don't have
show
a Second
that they
Amendment?
actually
They wouldn't
cared.
be coming here.
But there was no real follow-through.
Hotels like the historic Roosevelt became intake shelters for migrants. The
I
city
need
says
another
they
beer.
quickly filled up,
But this is
and the
still
issue
funny.
became a blame game
Well,
between
it's
the
not
mayor
funny.
and
It's
local aid
for the
groups.
migrants.
They're
and all
not
that,
looking
but
at the
it's funny.
migrants as human beings.
It's
They're
funny
looking at them
that
as
the loony
numbers.
left is
They're
not
looking at them
complaining.
as a way to get
Because
more money from the federal
we're
government.
giving them the
and
chance
they're also using them
do what
for
they
their
wanted
own
to do.
tactic, which is to deter more people from coming here to New York City.
Out of the more than 110,000 who have arrived, many of them are families. First day jitters for the nearly 20,000 newly arrived children entering classrooms all across the city.
Nervios, pues puede haber por ahí un poco de nervios, pero me siento muy motivado.
It is the story
Oh,
of
he
New York
speaks Spanish.
City. We don't treat people as outsiders. We welcome them with open arms.
Yeah, illegals generally,
and that's what we
yes.
have
That's
been
why I
doing
like Trump's.
Okay, Valerie joins me now in the studio. I guess people may be
Point
watching
basis.
this.
Like
and when you
my
think about
friend,
the fact that the
my
mayor's a
wife's friend.
Democrat,
She's
the
a
governor
nurse.
of New York's a Democrat,
You need
and
nurses.
the president is a Democrat,
Awesome.
and they're not on
Right?
the same page. I know
Give
you have some
that-
new
give that
reporting
woman
tonight.
a green
What has
card and
happened
fucking
since Mayor
teach her
Adams
some
made those
English?
explosive comments last night?
So the
So she
White
knows how to
House,
take
the
a
White
fucking
House
pulse?
spokesperson tells NBC News that the administration has been in talks with Governor Kathy Hochul as recently as today about this issue. They made no
Problem
mention of
is-
any conversation with Mayor Eric Adams, though. They point out that $140 million
They're trying
in
to
federal
make
funding
your
has
country,
already gone to the city and
US.
state from the Department of
Let's say
Homeland
your
Security,
country,
but they say
too.
it'll ultimately
But
be up to
the US
Congress
just like
to
those
decide if more
countries in
resources
South
should be
America.
provided.
Yeah, but the other
And it's
problem is
not
that it seems
the
like the mayor and the
migrants.
governor are also
It's your
on
government.
the same page, and they're not talking to each other.
CRT is
Okay,
Marxism.
Valerie, we appreciate all that reporting. Great report.
They're putting it into fucking schools.
Thanks
It
for
has nothing
watching
to do
our
with
YouTube channel.
migrants.
Follow today's top stories and
Matter
breaking.
of fact, the migrants recognize it. They know what it is. They've seen it. Again, why don't these teachers have fucking bullet holes in their fucking head? And it's not the teachers all the time. It's the school boards. Anyway, I need another beer. Actually, I might have that one on. Here, let me do CRT. You guys aren't doing shit. So, migrants ain't your problem. Migrants aren't your problem. Your own fucking people are. You want to help your country? Ship the motherfuckers out that are acting like that they know something about socialism and communism, and then depends. The kids have seen socialism before. Most of them, well, maybe they will go along just because they're brainwashed, because that's what socialism does. Let me see if I can find my CRT. This is what they're putting in your schools.
To explain critical race theory, it helps to begin with a brief history of Marxism. Originally, the Marxist left built its political program on the theory of class conflict. Karl Marx believed that the primary characteristic of industrial societies was the imbalance of power between capitalists and workers. The solution to that imbalance, according to Marx, was revolution. The workers would eventually gain consciousness of their plight, seize the means of production, overthrow the capitalist class, and usher in a new socialist society. It failed, over and over and over. But rather than abandon their political project, Marxist scholars in the West simply adapted their revolutionary theory to the social and racial unrest of the 1960s.
Does this all sound familiar?
Abandoning Marx's economic dialectic of capitalists and workers, they substituted race for class and sought to create a revolutionary coalition of the dispossessed based on racial, ethnic, or more recently, gender categories. Critical race theory is an academic discipline, formulated in the 1990s and built on the intellectual framework of identity-based Marxism. Relegated for many years to universities and obscure academic journals, it has increasingly become the default ideology in our public institutions over the past decade. It has been injected into government agencies, public school systems, teacher training programs, and corporate human resources departments in the form of diversity training programs, human resources modules, public policy frameworks, and school curricula. Basically, they're indoctrinating your kids to be good little communists.
Oh, they want the border open because the people coming from those countries aren't as educated. Well, I can't say that now. Thanks to your school boards, our kids are fucking retarded. Are less educated than our people, our kids, because they've done away with education now and just teach gender ideology and CRT. And these people, like in Brazil, their schools are ranked 79th. Actually, I think America is getting down to that point. But 79th in the world. Yet they can tell, they can look down their pants and tell you what fucking gender they are. But yeah, they're trying to make, because nobody's going to educate you to take their place or kick them out of office. You want proof? Look at fucking, who the fuck was it in the wheelchair? Shit. Feinstein. She's in a fucking wheelchair. If people were educated, she wouldn't be there. She had to sign over power of attorney to her daughter because she's so fucking incapacitated. But she can vote on bills for... Again, some people just need to be fucking shot. Oh, his name is Matt. See, well, if they were willing to follow the Constitution, none of this shit would be a problem. Get the fuck out of my life. It's that simple. That's why every time, Jimmy says, they don't give a fuck about you. They're not supposed to. You don't want them to. If they give a fuck about you, they give a fuck about what you're doing. And that ain't their fucking job. Their job is to fucking is to defend the Constitution. That's it. Your rights. That's it. It's not to give a fuck about you. If they give a fuck about you, then they start wondering what you're doing. No, he can't. He tried. And Biden sued.
We start tonight.
This is your country, by the way. This is fucking. You wonder why I moved? Yeah. Fucking retards. Because I was going to fucking kill some of them. Oh, let me write in. The National Guard doesn't have authority to enforce federal law. Only state law. So he needs to, their Congress or their Senate or whatever the fuck you call it, needs to pass immigration laws, which they can't thanks to the 10th Amendment because it's in the Constitution. So Oh, it's because I was typing. And I'm fucking... Why are you guys bitching? Y'all own guns, don't you? They're grooming and mutilating your kids. At what point don't you go, you know, I think we have enough. Holy fuck. I don't really think the founders, though, when they wrote that amendment, were going, someday somebody's going to like start cutting off the dicks and tits of our kids. We may actually have to shoot a motherfucker. I don't think that even entered their mind. They were shooting motherfuckers over 3% T-tax. Holy fuck. They're grooming and mutilating your kids. I don't know what it fucking takes. So, yeah, Abbott's tried. So did Arizona. Arizona sued over shipping containers. Over shipping containers. Yes, every time I type, survey, yeah, yeah, they called parents domestic terrorists for going to school board meetings because they didn't want their children groomed. Your government is grooming and mutilating your children. Shoot them. I'm beginning to wonder, what does it take? What the fuck does it take for you people?
Senators Kramer, Scott, colleagues demand answers on scheme to label parents domestic terrorists. Washington U.S. Senator Kevin Kramer, RND, joined Senator Tim Scott, RSC, on a letter demanding answers from U.S. Department of Education Secretary Miguel Cardona on reports that he played a key role in orchestrating a letter from the National School Board Association, NSBA, that called concerned parents domestic terrorists. Parents are not domestic.
I don't know if Grumpy left or not. Holy fuck.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Let's get ready to rumble!
Yeah, I'm going to call it a night too because it's 9:04 where you are, but it's 10:04 here. So, hasta la pizza, folks, and remember this: take everything I say very fucking seriously. Oh, wait a minute, I gotta do. Also, if a dude comes up in a dress with a full beard and tells you he's a chick, just punch him in the throat.